is going to go, but there's still a big emphasis on the bottom side of the map, mainly because Unified is just such a scary AD carry.
There you go. It's going to be onto the draft we are. HKA on blue side, PSG on your red. And starting things off immediately, it is going to be the Syndra ban away from tank. And it looks like PSG, they're the ones that say, yeah, we don't really want to go ahead and play against this Varus. We're not going to let you first pick it.
Yeah, it makes me wonder whether or not PSG want to leave open the Aphelios instead on the side of HK. They can first pick that, or maybe fall back into one of, Eminem's go-to, which is also the Ezreal, and has been very incredibly strong in either 10.11 and 10.12, mainly due to the fact that, there is that death stance is still incredibly strong.
All right, so also seeing that Graves being banned out here. So we're getting rid of some of those, power farm aggressive junglers that we've been seeing. That is going to be a Twisted Fate ban, though, coming out from Hong Kong Attitude. So are willing to, respect the possible pickup that tank can provide with the team. And, okay, PSG are the ones that are actually going to be the first to ban out the Aphelios in their match.
Yeah, still don't want to give that away to Eminem, so a lot of respect. Eminem, though, has been playing a lot of Ezreal games from spring to summer. For now, though, we saw the interview back at Enzo with Berjaya, why they first picked Karma, and it's just overall strong, lots of flexibility into the draft, and I am curious if this is going to get locked in.
All right, so this is, again, 10.12 Fiddlesticks, which means you can run it in the mid lane, and it is pretty much tank Fiddlesticks. But it looks like they're just playing with my heart a little bit. It looks like they want to go with something like a Trundle. Fine, don't be fun. All right, I also don't think you should be, first picking it on red side. But still, that option is still available if they want to go with it.
We'll see what PSG decides to pair that with. Either secure your AD carry, deny any sort of picks away from Eminem. So far, though, yes, it is going to be a fallback to Trundle, as HKA still has a lot of respect when it comes to, wow, we're going to see another misfortune. Then I guess it's going to be Eminem back with his Ezreal, which has been the typical matchup when it comes to the spring split. The typical misfortune in Ezreal at the bottom side of the map.
We kind of felt, though, that the misfortune has kind of declined as far as the priority goes, especially in the bot lane pickups. And like we've mentioned, this is actually going to be our first misfortune. It was always the Aphelios misfortune show when it came to spring. So we'll see what the new plan is going to be, as now, like you mentioned, the Ezreal going to get locked in for Eminem in the mid lane. Or bot lane, jeez. Moon Black looking at, possibly.
Moon Black, yes. It makes me wonder what you'd like to pair Unified with, what kind of support. I mean, Yuumi is still open for the taking if they want to take that in. Yuumi is ridiculously strong, scales really, really well. And it compensates of, the nerfs that has been on the movement speed of Misfortune, so it really does fit well. And for PSG, they'll be satisfied with that. HK, though, for Holo on this Lee Sin, so a lot of high expectations on this pick.
So now I'm interested. We also have a Yuumi getting locked in, and I swear this would have been just a composition we saw all of spring at this point. As now we're kind of falling back, and we'll see kind of an old style of PSG that we haven't really seen for a little bit.
Yeah, it feels like we've managed to make a time machine work, and now we're back at the first week of spring split. And you know what? We'll have to see what changes. What will be at top side, because we're at 10.12, Volibear is open, Wukong is open for the taking. So let's see whether or not Kartis will be on that 1v1 matchup instead against Hanabi, because we did mention Hanabi sometimes can get a little bit overconfident, and HKA can possibly capitalize on that.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple times where, Hanabi gets a little bit too comfortable in the lane, tries to heavy force it out, and then he can get dived pretty easily. There is going to be that Ornn ban coming out from Hong Kong Attitude, and 2 mid lane bans actually coming out from the side of PSG. So a lot of respect actually being shown over there toward Moon Black. And yeah, getting rid of something like a blind pick Renekton, that's always a safe go-to for Hanabi. It seems to be the option to be taking away on the side of Hong Kong Attitude.
Yeah, therefore at the top side and as well as mid lane, what does Tank desire to pick? As we've seen a couple of Galio being picked earlier, but now, you know what? This is actually very spring split. We're seeing another Azir back again in the mid lane.
It's time for some shuffles, it seems, here, as Tank is going to make his debut on the Azir pickup, so a lot more of a team fight control mage, unlike what we saw from the Twisted. Well, technically he's a team fight control mage, but he's a big AoE team fight control mage. But on the side of Hong Kong Attitude, we'll see whether or not he can go toe-to-toe with this middle sticks that has been causing havoc so far over in other regions.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes me wonder how Moonblack is going to make this work, as, you know, Karthus is still left open for what he is going to pick. Earlier, he did a phenomenal job playing to the lane, but, you know, that counter pick option will not be available against PSG, as Hanabi can pick the lane for himself against this Jace.
All right, so there you go. Jace is going to get locked in. Now for Hanabi, like you mentioned, what does he wish to take up into this matchup in the top lane this go-around? We'll see whether or not, you know, Hanabi, if he's going to feel very confident. You already got some decent carries here, so I'm expecting something more of a tank. And let's go. Yes, let's do the Malphite once more here from PSG. It's going to get locked in.
Because there's two choices, right? Either you want to play to the lane or play to the team fights, because this is exactly what PSG is definitely assembling. And with that said, though, this is absolutely going to be scary for Karthus, especially Calm level 6. You've got a really, really safe poke as well when it comes to this Malphite against this Jace, so I will be a little bit scared, considering, again, that is River in the jungle that you have to take note of.
Well, and this is just your screaming wombo combo, pretty much, if you're on the side of PSG, and even to an extent on the side of HKA. I really have to question, though, how Tank is going to fare in this matchup, because this, again, Fiddlesticks build that comes out mid lane is absolutely disgusting, and it's so annoying to deal with and can zone you off pretty well. I think Azir actually has an okay time because he has enough range to be away from the drain and keep getting the auto attacks in with the soldiers.
Yeah, true. He can absolutely farm in a safe distance, at least, having a little bit of less threat. I think when it becomes dangerous is when you add Holo into the equation with this Lee Sin.
Now we'll see here. HKA, they have already picked up the victory today against Resurgence. We'll see whether or not they can do the same here up against PSG, who are currently undefeated when it comes to summer. We get to see Tank once again in the mid lane, and we'll see whether or not the champions of spring can remain undefeated as it continues into the summer split, as we go ahead and load on into the Rift. Well, I hope we get to load on into the Rift. It seems like we're a little delayed when it comes to... There we go! Finally! PSG, Hong Kong Attitude, it's Game 3 of Day 1 of Week 2. Eerily silent when it comes to the Rift here, you know, as things go. That's what happens when, you know, you practice. We're trained to learn, like, the audio cue and the music when we're like, yeah, we're going to go on in the Rift. Yeah, we're going to go do this. And then it feels really awful when it doesn't go. And we're like, oh, okay, I guess we'll go another time. Oh, boy. Yeah, I want to see how well Moonblack does here on the Fiddlesticks. I'm very excited to see it. He's... ever since the rework, or relaunch, you could say, of the champion, we got to see a little bit of it back at the MSS. I believe it was, we got to see Gigabyte Marines, GAM,
yes,
whatever you wish to call
GAM.
them now. They were not afraid to pick it up. And yeah, going with that Aftershock, it's a very annoying build to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely, being able to survive a little more when it comes to the fights later on. And yeah, we mentioned wombo combo for the side of PSG. You've got the bullet time, you got the final chapter into the Malphite ult, and just see where you can work from there. And considering the fact that you've got 3 potential actually make that four champions that will potentially be in your face, and you will definitely get in range and is able to soak so much damage. So for HKA, they have to be careful when it comes to entering these fights, or else they have to face a deadly combo against PSG.
See, Holo already going on to his blue, so both sides of the map being pretty much mirrored when it comes to the jungle pass. We're kind of wondering, early game, is Hanabi going to be highly punished for this Malphite pick? Are we going to see, Cardis try and do what he can and punish this pickup, the fact that he really won't be able to do a whole lot until he gets level 6? And that's the annoyance that comes out with this Fiddlesticks, is Moonblack can just walk into the mini wave and suck them all back, gain all the health back.
Yeah, absolutely, and is able to have full control, even getting that early lead a bit when it comes to the level. For now, though, this is what PSG desires. They will chill a little bit when it comes to the lanes and see how safe they can play it, because this is going to be a bit slow for them when they want to scale up and be ready. So early game objectives possibly will be given up on the side of PSG. HKA will be happy to take those early.
You can see, if you're Tank right now, you're like, okay, can I actually hit anything on this Fiddlesticks? You can see Tank is already at half health, and Moonblack can now roam and actually get some pressure, get some priority into the jungle, and help secure the scuttle. So the early part of the game is so annoying to deal with when you're going against this Fiddlesticks, as Tank can't really do a whole lot, but just kind of poke from far away and realize, oh, I still don't do any damage to this.
Yeah, I think that is the difficult part for Tank, and good thing he still has 2 pots to consume, at least to survive a little bit, but to properly farm up in the mid lane will surely be a challenge against Moonblack. In the meantime, though, the same goes for this heavy poke comp with the Karma and as well as this Ezreal. Good thing, though, you have the Yuumi for that sustain.
Yeah, so they can survive a little bit of that poke, like you mentioned, with the sustain coming out. Cardis, on the other hand, already getting pushed back into his minion wave, actually, is Hanabi. Never fearless when it comes to any matchup, it seems. He's willing to always continue to push in, even on the Malphite into Jace. I think we're just kind of waiting for the first instance of a jungle, though, to actually make an appearance, especially in this mid lane where Tank has been slowly just being chipped away and maybe setting up for Hollow to come in and pick up a quick steal kill.
Yeah, absolutely. They are capable of definitely getting a little bit of smooth dives here and there in the form of Moonblack 2 with a Chrome Storm later on. Chrome Storm, my apologies. Chrome Storm later on. But yeah, it will be a little bit, as HKA will like to set up, low health targets first before a dive can actually be executed well or executed safely. And they do have the capability to do so, because Eminem and Attack at the bottom side of the map, they have a very, again, heavy poke composition. Moonblack has been really pushing Tank into his own tower. In the meantime, though, Kartis at the moment is also setting up a bit of poke here and there against Hanabi. So Holo can actually try to eeny, meeny, miny, mo which lane will be prepped up for a dive.
I'm still trying to figure out what a Chrome Storm would be. Does he make everything shiny? He just comes in and everyone gets like chrome plated. Level 6, there you go, for Moonblack. So maybe we get to see him and Holo try and make a play here, as it's just so frustrating. He gets 2 Doran rings and he just doesn't run out of mana. It's so aggravating.
It is absolutely annoying, and the fact that you don't really need as much, you're not getting punished for it as well, which is adds up to the annoyance in this matchup in particular.
You even saw there Eminem and Tax still not afraid to try and jump in for a little bit of action, getting that poke immediately onto Unifying Tywing, and like that Hollow, because of just that amount of pressure that's getting exerted from this Fiddlesticks, as well as pretty much forcing Tank to sit by, River isn't really in the mood to try and contest for that Drake, and it's going to go in favor of HKA.
And this is exactly what we mentioned earlier. Setting up HP low health targets for a potential dive. Holo wanted to try and see if that is possible, especially that they're not level 6 just yet. So the punish potential from the side of PSG is not going to be available just yet. And as well as early game objectives will possibly fall towards HKA first because PSG still has to wait a little bit for them to scale. So this is just all according to plan for HKA.
Well, we're going to wait here, because once you hit that level 6, once you kind of have some wombo combo available, and I think that's where we're going to see is these early to mid-game objective fights around that 12 to 15-minute mark when PSG decide, okay, you know what, now we can start fighting. Now we have first item, now we have that wombo combo, especially once Unified gets his 2 crit items online, that's really when the damage will start scaling up.
Absolutely, and we'll have to see if HKA is able to slow that process down because it has been a little bit calm as PSG Unified as well as Kaiwing is able to survive at least. And again, this is just Fiddlesticks things in the mid lane.
See, Tank, he's like, all right, you know what? If you're going to stand that close to me, I'm going to put 2 soldiers down. But with that, like, Moonblack, he's able to get such easy priority because he can move so far up in the lane. And Tank, he just doesn't want to stand near. And with that, he can also go into the jungle and start stealing away camps from River.
Yeah, he has been placing a lot of vision over that side of that jungle as well. So a good deny, at least a little bit towards River. But he is already level 6. Having the Subjugate already available. And possibly maybe a counter gank as Holo is working his way towards the Rift Herald, actually.
And you can see respect there coming out from Moonblack saying, all right, I don't know where River was. Now he does show himself in the lane. But with that knowledge he wants, he can fall back up in toward the Rift Herald pit. And Holo's already taken that, and it doesn't look like River's going to be able to respond.
Yeah, and the fact that, you know, Holo is on that Rift Herald side, it allows Moonblack to hug that upper portion of that map. So because River was waiting at the opposite side, it was definitely hard for them to punish this sort of positioning. And with that said, all according to plan, Rift Herald, first Dragon, all in HK's pocket.
You thought he was annoying without Blue Buff. Behold, now he just doesn't use mana at this point because he'll always get him back in time. Well, I'm going to be so sad because it's such a fun play pattern. Like, you literally just walk up and you're just like, all right, I suck all these minions and get all my health back, and it's like, oh, you can't do anything. It's also really annoying too for Tank because he's going up against, because you of course you main the green tree when it comes to your rune setup, is you can always get the bone plating. So especially when you're in Azir, each one of those auto attacks counts as a form of damage. So he actually soaks up the little trades that Tank tries to throw in like this, and it's rather difficult for him to even get Moonblack within kill range for River to come by.
Yeah, exactly. So
there you go.
This might be the play, though.
Baits him in. That's what you needed to do here. Ends up trying to pop the ultimate, but no, gets denied, and that's first blood. They say, you're damn annoying, but we will finally kill you here in mid.
After 10 minutes, there is the first gank, there is that first punish, and with that said, Moonblack will be a little bit more reserved when it comes to playing the lane, playing the PvE lane, if you will, and that was a really nice shuffle and has really sent Moonblack into the arms of River.
And it's good knowledge there from River to actually put down the pillar when he needed to prevent the Crow Storm from actually being channeled for him to go for an escape. And you know what? Maybe that's a little bit of disrespect from Moonblack. Meanwhile, top lane, Hanabi. Cardis, speaking of just disrespect, Hanabi looking for the kill, wants to try and hunt him down. Lots of pings coming out. Unfortunately, Hanabi will not be able to finish off the kill. Just a sliver of health remaining on that Jace during the end of the trade.
It's just one rock slap left, and that would have ended Cardis' life here. But yeah, damage wasn't enough. The gates actually added the movement speed to escape danger. And Hanabi will possibly consume a teleport to go back to lane or manually walk back. But Cardis actually wanted to clear that wave before anything else, before going back.
We do see, though, next dragon is going to be spawning here in about 10 seconds. River's already on the bot side of the map. Unified still waiting on his first back to get a full completed item, likely going into that Essence Reaver, and popping the Rift Herald to try and get a little bit of pressure down in this bot lane. But PSG should be able to clear this. It may be able to get a charge off because they are threatening anyone who steps forward.
We'll have to see. There is a very deep ward for a potential teleport for either Cardis to move in for a potential dive, but based on their movement, seems to be not the case.
Yeah, see,
And,
unfortunately, Tank can't actually kill Moonblack without River, so he could try and go for that setup, but he needs that a little extra damage and another interrupt into his kit. So unfortunately, not able to do a whole lot. River, is he going to get caught out here? Oh, no.
Is he?
There you go.
Uh-oh.
They've set up the Death Rush. In comes the final chapter from the Yuumi. The Fear does land. The Crowstorm, though, not close enough. Moonblack just forces himself into the back line and finds himself the kill. A nice kickback from Hollow, and Tank's going to get taken on down, and Unified forced to flash away. Resonating Strike will connect. Hollow finds himself another kill, and poor Kaiwing will fall to his death, and that is 4 members of PSG taken down by HKA.
HKA is doing it, and with that, even getting a dragon as a bonus. And this is all for the fact that River is just walking into a death trap. And I guess a little bit disrespect on the side of PSG, not assuming that HKA possibly is lying in waiting for them in the River side. And you know what? The collapse is just working out so well, and for PSG, they are not able to fight back and get an exchange whatsoever.
Easy does it here, as that's also going to be the dragon secured by Hong Kong Attitude, as you saw in the live picture-in-picture. Yeah, unfortunately here for PSG, not the start you're looking for. And I kind of have to wonder, are you going to be able to play up against this Fiddlesticks? Is this kind of like, they even hovered the Fiddlesticks lock-in and decided against it. They said, all right, you know what, HK, they can take it. This Tank didn't really want to play it. It's such a weird niche pick, but it's doing wonders here for Hong Kong Attitude early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Already completing the Visage, so if earlier it was a little bit difficult to try and put Moonblack's HP into any sort of kill range, then it will be a little bit more difficult. Wow, nicely done by Eminem, is able to spot out a potential dive coming from River, and the swap continues as the Rift Herald will spawn in a few.
Yeah, I'm not even 100% certain here, PSG falling back to this Misfortune pickup. Unified's always been capable, but I find it very weird that they actually wasted 2 bans on Marksman. Like, they got rid of Varus as well as Aphelios, which, honestly, like, I feel like the draft here from Big Fafa is a little bit different from what we expected of PSG.
Yeah, it seemed to me a very confident draft, I suppose, that HKA will not be able to take advantage of how strong they are early to mid. And PSG can just do PSG things, basically. And I honestly think that you can't really blame them because they aren't exactly punished from when we look at Spring. But it seems to me this is the old playstyle that we've seen back in Spring Split for PSG Talon, and we'll have to see whether or not HKA can still proceed with continuing with the punish.
Well, it's going to be second Rift Herald also now joining us. So for HKA, if they want to, they can try and get some pressure. These early objective fights are a bit lethal, especially when you're going up against a Fiddlesticks who's already won and rushed for 20% cooldown reduction, and likely, I think, you splash into the domination tree to get that Hunter, and oh
Unified?
no, Unified! Absolutely no respect. That's Eminem picking up a free kill, and from the side of PSG, it just feels like a lack of vision, a lack of respect toward HKA. Down on bot lane, though, Hanabi just going to go for a quick dive. Karthus, though, was able to pick up the tower in response. First brick gold will go onto the Jace, and Hanabi, he can't finish off this Jace. He's going to get away once again.
And he was playing safe, too. What if that's going to be a flash queued towards Karthus, and that's the reason why Karthus decided not to wait for any sort of cooldowns to be back online for Hanabi and just safely done with a flash. And because of that, PSG is unable to do an exchange, a consolation prize, if you will. It was supposed to be Karthus' death, but he is able to still escape, is still alive, and now Rift Herald has been acquired, and you know what? HKA is doing really well against PSG, considering, again, these are the back-to-back 2-time champions from MSS and PCS Spring.
Yeah, I just feel like if you look at the map, there's no vision coming out from PSG into the jungle of HKA, and when you're playing up against a Fiddlesticks, vision is like the #1 counter to the damn champion. If you have any kind of deep vision where you're able to tell where he is early, it makes it very unreliable for him to rely on the Fiddlesticks to carry these fights, because usually you can just avoid the Crowstorm.
And because that's actually a really, really huge loss for the side of PSG, because again, they were hoping to punish Cardis for taking down that bottom lane tower. But then again, it didn't work out. So HKA win all around. It's a huge win all around the map.
So now, what is PSG going to try and look to do to respond here? It's getting a little bit unfortunate as far as things go. You're running a Trundle, so we weren't expecting a lot of early game pressure from River. Again, there's not a whole lot of priority that comes out of that matchup, especially considering you're always going to be up against a Lee Sin. I also like that Kaiwing has just attached himself to the jungle, and Unified is, well, there he's finally going to be attached. But now Cardis is just going to be able to funnel more gold onto this Jace as he takes down another tower of PSG's.
And because of PSG's composition in particular, they are not able to challenge or try to punish, especially when they're all complete as 5. So they will be waiting for a little bit of their 3-item power spike first before anything else, before they're actually very confident and look towards possibly getting a pick in the side lanes if Moonblack is alone, if Cardis is alone. Teleport is available for Moonblack and Cardis though, as we'll have to see if it's going to be conceded as they're still pushing at top side.
Pushing in top, you look for a cheeky steal on the side of Moonblack. Sure, you got yourself a dragon, but that's now going to be the inhibitor tower likely taken here as Hanabi may be able to stop it. No, it won't happen as Shelly gets a charge off. You'll be able to at least stop it from hitting onto the inhibitor, but all right, PSG looks like a bit lost here, and now I have to question for HKA. Now you found yourselves in a lead over the Spring Split champions. How do you look to try and amplify this lead and try and secure more pressure across the map and try and close this game out?
Take note, if we look back at Spring, if we look at the defeats of, PSG Talon, they've lost against Alpha before. I believe they've lost twice against Alpha. They have actually struggled at the first round robin when it comes to the drafts. And I feel like for HKA, because of so much leeway they have, having to go up against this sort of scaling composition against PSG, they're willing to take it. For me, though, what I'm afraid of, what if HKA is not pushing their lead even further and will eventually lose their lead? Because this has happened before at Spring Split when they're up against PSG Talon.
Well, for PSG, you're kind of waiting now on to your next item spikes. I do believe it is going to be Tank. It looks like he wants to go into a Morello's. He has picked up the Oblivion Orb. Or he might be just sitting on that. And you are waiting onto that Infinity Edge for Unified, when that's going to help amplify his ultimate damage. So there is kind of this grace period for HKA where they still have a minor advantage. Woo! Nice steal with that deep vision once again. River, he's going to pop the sweeper and be like, are you kidding me? Eminem, he's got himself some good true shot barrages so far in this game.
Yeah, True Shot Barrage is it's insanely low cooldown, so if that's a really good exchange denying and acquiring that red buff away from PSG. So at this point, really good vision coming from HKA, good deep vision for either potential flanks that Cardis could eventually do, also Moonblack as well. And with that said, it is PSG trying to pick up the pieces, especially top side is now open, no inhibitor tower. That's the reason why Moonblack is trying to push in the waves a little bit more.
Tank knew that there was going to be himself a fiddle, ends up bringing back over toward the side. River with another good interrupt, as well as a teleport from Hanabi. Hello? That's 4 members of PSG. They're able to find the kill, but that opens up mid lane now for HKA.
That's the reason why they're rushing, clearing down the waves. They're able to chunk this out.
Decent damage coming out from Unified, able to clear the wave, but still not onto the Infinity Edge, so it's still lacking a little bit of damage.
Fortunately, Moonblack had to suffer a little bit, but that is a teleport consumed from Hanabi, so that's the teleport advantage on Karthus' side. And unfortunately, though, the vision has expired, has been cleared by PSG earlier, so Moonblack is unable to react accordingly to the collapse of PSG.
Unfortunately, Moonblack, he can draw a lot of people's attention, but if he does get, caught out with no help on the side of HKA, it's rather difficult for him to actually find a play. Still waiting on his ultimate cooldown. Still looks like he still has about 20 seconds. But meanwhile, that is the tower taken by Tank on the top side. But HKA, they're looking to knock down 2 here in response.
This is great coming from HKA. Constant pressure. It doesn't matter if it's just a bit of chunk damage, a bit of little damage towards the tower. It is totally fine because they are able to finish that off once PSG decides to invest resources somewhere away from the map. And that's going to be 1 minute more or less for the next dragon to spawn. HK is on their way to their third if they're able to secure more vision, which is very apparent because we can see there's a bunch of deep vision towards that blue side. So HK very much prepped to try and contest for this third dragon.
Now, if they wish to, they could try and get a teleport out from Cardis if he is in a side lane pushing. Hanabi, though, is going to be the one that's trying to at least get a little bit of pressure, as Moonblack, though, is going to meet him. And PSG wanted to try and get some vision into the river, but gets kind of a little bit scared here. And we've kind of defaulted back to a bit of, you know, this ping pong in the mid lane. This kind of just clear left, clear your side, we'll clear your minions. And this was kind of a default fallback we always saw from PSG back in spring where, you know, when we saw a tank in the very first matchup, we're like, yeah, this is PSG. They're proactive. They're making plays. Right now, they're being pretty much told where they have to go around the map by HKA, which, again, I wasn't expecting here in this match.
Yeah, HKA is holding their ground really well. I'm afraid of Eminem. That could potentially be a set from Hanabi, and he's hugging the wall really tightly.
Flash.
I'm scared.
Flash. He's going to get in range. He's able to get it. And there you go. The shutdown going in favor of Hanabi. And there you are on the side of PSG. Able to find their pick. Oh my lord, that damage from Cardis. It's not enough. And instantly toward the Baron.
Instantly toward the Baron. That's a lot of death timers. One of your main damage dealers, actually your main damage dealers is gone. So for HKA, they're willing to just trade and concede, not play with any sort of steal. As it will be very difficult, even though it's Holo here on the Lee Sin, still a little bit risky. Again, that's PSG for you. Especially the fact that, you know, HK at this point is unable to keep, you know, pushing with their lead. They're able to siege, you know, towers at least, but at points like this, where Hanabi's just lying in wait for a beautiful set, they gotta be careful.
And you saw there, over the wall he goes, and Eminem doesn't really have any time to get himself back to safety. And Card's just a little bit late to actually try and pull the trigger. You saw in the picture-in-picture, though, a little bit of pressure coming out there from PSG. And there you are. Baron secured for the Spring Split champions. And now, dead even in the gold. Only a couple hundred separating the two squads.
PSG is just very used to going up against high aggressive teams, especially coming from former LST or possibly, you know, either HKA or maybe even J Team. And with that said, even though they looked a little bit shaky, they looked a little bit lost, Unified getting caught off guard, they still have a composition that will definitely scale better than HKA, and HKA will just fall off eventually. And that's the reason why I am scared for HKA, because they had a huge lead. They were just really showing PSG how scary they can be at the early phases of the game, but now they have lost control.
There we go. Push gonna come in. With that Baron buff, they can start knocking down some towers, especially this mid lane first tier opens up the midsection of the map, and then they can start getting down that deep vision and start preventing this Fiddlesticks from getting the jump on them during their transitions into another lane. And there you go. Meanwhile, though, we do have to mention HK, they were able to secure the third dragon. PSG were able to get themselves the fourth, so that does prevent Soul. But HK could still line themselves up for Mountain Soul on the next dragon spawn.
Yeah, there's still 1 minute for PSG to take advantage of this Baron. And it's quite difficult, too, because your only choice of wave control, of wave clear, in a safe place would be the True Shot Barrage. Anything else would have to put you at risk of any sort of possible setup from PSG. Moonblack, I was a little bit worried.
Hanabi, you don't care. Oh, pulls the trigger, tries to get him within range of the bullet time. It's not enough. Now, Crowstorm going to be used in response, but Moonblack, because he has gone this more tanky route, isn't able to do a whole lot of damage, relying mainly on the base ratio. With that, they are able to at least prevent PSG from trying to knock down a second-tier tower in bot lane.
Yeah, it's all about surviving and providing additional utility for the team with this build in particular. And Just unfortunate though that again HK is starting to struggle. We did mention that 3-item power spike, and will you look at that? We've got Tank already with the Void Staff completed on top of the Morello, and as well as your Nashers, and it's gonna be very extra difficult. All of his soldier pokes are gonna be extra painful, and there's just so much setup now because they're always gonna be at 5s, and that's the win condition for PSG. Lots of setups, lots of combos to work with.
There we go. A 3,700 Baron advantage coming out there from PSG. Does net them now about a 1,500 gold lead. 90 seconds on that next Dragon spawn. PSG are able to get down the vision on the bot side of the map. Cardis, he said, you know what? I'm going to go split push. I'm going to try and do what I can to maybe force PSG to relieve some pressure, but down in the bot lane, here they go. They can just knock down this tower instantly.
That is the trade, and with the current situation for Hanabi, Cardis cannot deal with the Hanabi on this Malphite, and now PSG is able to get that deal and push further with this bot side. And with that said, HK lose an inhibitor tower.
And you can see Hanabi, he just opted to go stack armor because of the fact that this is a tank fiddlesticks. It's not going to be doing a whole lot of damage to you during those team fights where Hanabi can just act as that frontline engage. And in most cases, Moonblack isn't going to be anywhere near Hanabi until he uses that Crow Storm. So he has nothing to really worry about as far as damage. It's going to get to a point where this Malphite's going to become unkillable.
Yeah, absolutely. He doesn't have to worry about any sort of AP burst on the side of HKA because of what you mentioned, Moonblack's path and decision on this Fiddlesticks. And now that's 25 seconds on the clock for HKA. They do have first dibs on this area at least, but at the same time, with them complete as 5s, PSG can look for a set.
There you go. 10 seconds onto the Dragon. Teleport, though, coming out from Hanabi. He's been able to sneak his way, and he could look for a flank. There is some decent ward coverage, but they can tell that Hanabi is looking for the play. PSG actually on the other side of the map. HKA themselves as well. They want to try and force down this Mountain Drake. Moonblack wants to try and get in range, has that ultimate pop, and in goes the Crowstorm. Able to get the damage, and they take down Kaiwing. Tank, though, still alive over toward the side. Bullet time comes let loose, and there is your Soul in favor of HKA, but can they escape? No, they can't, as Tank able to divide the team. Eminem gonna get slowed by the soldiers, does trade back a kill, but it will be the 4 kills in favor of PSG for the price of 2. But do note, Soul was obtained for HKA.
Soul was obtained for HKA. There's still PSG trying to get first dibs on towards that Baron area, but let's take a look at the fight once again. This is a beautiful set coming from Moonblack on the side and is able to burst down Kaiwing immediately, so there's no sources of healing whatsoever. In the meantime, though, Unified is still so safe in the backline, so if there's zero threat, there's also Tank is able to find another kill. Eminem, though, at least is able to take someone down before he fell.
Yeah, I saw there just arcade shift in and at least finish it off. So I don't know for PSG. I think they wanted to try and get themselves a full ace and maybe knock down an inhibitor, but the fact that HK were able to secure Mountain Soul, it's not a bad trade. I think in the end it's still that 3,000 gold lead in favor of PSG, but we've hit that point where it's now 30 minutes on the map. It's not necessarily a massive gold advantage, but you can see PSG not afraid to go ahead and start up the Baron once again.
Again, they're prime and ready. You've got Tank, 3 items, and as well as Unified here. So they're prime and ready to face this. And with that said, we'll have to see how they go with
Tank
this.
Finds himself the pick, and they take down the Lee Sin. Moonblack tries to go into the back line to try and get some damage. Unified goes down low. He will finally fall. No! He lasts a little longer, but Eminem on the back line on this Ezreal is able to keep himself safe, and PSG, they get shut down once again. Kaiwing will fall, and like that, the opening is there for HKA. A triple kill for Eminem.
And they're looking towards pushing this mid lane. That was an absolutely devastating fight for PSG. They were primed and ready. They took away Hollow, but at the same time has placed Tank in an awkward position and has to face HK, and now they're working their way towards this inhibitor tower.
They're just going to hard push this. They have these 4 members. It's still 12 seconds on River. I don't know if HK can fully end. They're thinking about it. They want to try and pull the trigger. 7 seconds on Unified. This might be the push. This might be enough for HKA to find the upset. River is going to spawn. They're just focused on the Nexus. Unified can't do anything. He doesn't have cooldowns. He takes out Cardis. But guess what? HKA find the upset over PSG.
I am absolutely shocked. They are happy. This is a full-on big upset. We were talking about how PSG has placed their strength at the very top and has increased the gap for the rest of the teams in summer. And now we see HKA, who struggled at week 1, takes down the PCS Spring Champions. I am shocked.
Not in my notes that HKA were supposed to win today, especially against PSG. I'm shocked, and I don't know. I have to question Talon's draft here. Like, the draft just didn't feel good, to say the very least. The fact that they went ahead and they said, okay, you know, we're going to let the Fiddlesticks go on over, instead of just ban. Like, I don't understand Avaris and the Aphelios ban. If you don't want to see one of them, that's cool, but, like, I felt like Unified, I don't like the Misfortune anymore.
It makes me wonder if there's a little bit of overconfidence involved, that perhaps HKA will not make moves around the map early and make it work, because we've seen so many times where highly aggressive teams would win the early game but are unable to finish. But this HKA looked really solid. They knew what to do. The fact that they were against PSG seemed like that didn't shake them at all, and it all fell into pieces in this Baron fight.
Yeah, going back here, it's unfortunate because it looked like a good pick, a good start off here for PSG, but then they funneled back into this small little area, and they're right on top of a bunch of AoE. And Eminem, he's untouched for the majority of this fight, and can just really just smack away at the back line of PSG and take down the carries.
Yeah, I love the target selection too, and you saw Cardis and Eminem literally had no hindrances when reaching the backline of PSG. And again, this is such a big upset that we both honestly did not expect. The rest of the Talon team really just voted for PSG straight up, and no one is correct today, and I am happy.
I don't know if I'm happy if we're all wrong here, but nonetheless, it's still a massive upset coming out from Hong Kong Attitude, which I said earlier in the day, you know, that Resurgence game didn't look clean enough for them to say, hey, I think they'll take down PSG, but they're able to make it work, and this is the problem that we saw from Talon/PSG back in spring. Were these games where they just weren't proactive enough? They went with something that relied almost too. It was almost like a novelty. They're like, all right, Hanabi gonna get the massive ult into a bullet time. We win the game, but the in between, the lane phase, River. Unfortunately, I am just never sold on Trundle in PCS. I really don't like the champion in the PCS. And of course, MVP. Give it on over to Eminem on the Ezreal.
Again, Eminem has been playing a lot of Ezreals, coming from spring, now in summer. This is, I believe, his 3rd time, and it has been working well for him. And I feel like, a lot of the teams might start to respect the Ezreal pick in general.
Yeah, so there we go. Congratulations over to Hong Kong Attitude as they're able to find the upset over PSG. And like you mentioned, let's go ahead and take a look at those predictions from the Talon team. No one had Hong Kong Attitude listed as the victor for this one. Everyone thought PSG was just going to absolutely roll over HKA. Little did we know, it was the exact opposite. They were able to take home the victory. So, you know, a couple of, you could say, upsets coming out from HKA. As half the team also thought, you know, it was going to be a Resurgence game for them to win as well.
Yeah, it's completely understandable. I mean, you're up against PSG, champions back-to-back from spring to MSS coming into the summer. You've got HKA, who barely even made it to playoffs, had to fight their way through a tiebreaker, and has had significant roster changes in the mid lane and as well as at top side, even having TAC as their
今天你们这场比赛赢过了 PSG， 那我想问一下，你们有做些什么样的改变，才能在今天取下胜利的呢？
So this is your first time winning over PSG this season. Did you guys make any changes, or what do you guys change?
我觉得我们的重心放在中野，然后我们很看重小龙，所以我们的节奏会打得很顺，这是我们的改变。
So I think we put our most important aspect in mid lane and jungler, and we took down all the drakes. So I think that's the changes that we made.
那你们这场比赛选出了这个版本当中非常新潮的角色草人费德提克，那这个角色你们自己是怎么评价他的？
So you guys chose Fiddlestick, and we have never seen this champion in either ban pick or any other places. So why do you guys make that decision to use it in mid lane?
我们中路可能玩的英雄都是比较非主流的，然后他最近都有自信玩这个角色，然后我们就相信他。
So our mid laner has a very unique champion pool, and Fiddlestick is one of his main. So that's why we chose Fiddlestick.
好，那最后一个问题，其实包含了这一场，其实你们在晋级场的比赛，可能有领先的情况下，其实在中间都会遇到一些乱流。那你们是如何稳住比赛的节奏，在今天拿下比赛的呢？
So you guys were a little bit messy in the middle. How do you maintain your momentum and end the game?
可能中间我们有送了一波，但是我们那时候好像有3条还是2条小龙，然后我们觉得能拿4条小龙的话，我们还是能赢的，所以就继续打下去。
So even though we were a little bit messy in the middle, we thought that if we got the 4th dragon, got the dragon, so we can still win the game. So that's what we did, and we actually win it.
好的，让我们恭喜 HKA， 恭喜 M 拿下了我们的 MVP。
Yeah, and as you saw there, it was, having a little bit of a unique champion pool on the side of HKA from Moonblack. Like we mentioned, some of those pocket picks may come out here during the summer split, and I don't know if you can say like Fiddlestick is one of his mains, because honestly it didn't come into popularity until like 2 patches ago, but still always willing to practice it, and it might show a little bit of weakness there from the side of PSG when it comes to some of these niche picks.
Yeah, Moonblack again has a lot of interesting picks. Like last time at the LMS, he played a bunch of Heimerdinger as well as the Fizz. So I'm excited for Moonblack in particular.
So with that, we are going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, though, we have ourselves our featured match of the day. It's going to be Machi taking on J-Team. Machi and J-Team currently fighting for that, honestly, what possibly could be that 2nd seed that is going to Worlds. But hey, nothing set in stone just yet. We just watched PSG end up taking a loss to Hong Kong Attitude. So we'll see you guys after a short break.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side ready to embrace the future.